Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Have you ever wondered why or how to get a sponsorship? I got my buddy Norm here, who's in charge of that for Solinco. Maybe we can get a sponsorship from him. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so I got my buddy Norm here. He is from Solinco, and he can be the decision maker, or he actually is the decision maker, whether you get sponsored by Solinco or not. Norm goes out to all these tournaments. You've probably recognized him if you ever go out to like an Easter Bowl or an Orange Bowl or any of the national tournaments. You'll see him making sure that his sponsored players are taken care of and potentially looking for new players to sponsor. Norm, welcome. So what do you do at these tournaments?
Well, a lot of it is going out to these events, catching up with the players we work with, building relationships, catching up with the coaches, and also chatting with new players to have them try out our strings, see what they're looking for in their equipment setup. How can we as Solinco make their setup that much better, make them play at their best?
Right. So when you're taking care of the existing players, are you also scouting out potential new people to sponsor?
Of course, always. You know, it's one of those things where you constantly have to see players, essentially build that relationship, see them over time. You know, they might not be interested at the time, but you give them a couple samples to try. Down the line, if the timing works out, they'll try it out. And we've been fortunate enough to have quite a few players jump on board with Solinco once they've tried out our equipment. Let's
start with some of the pro players. Who are some of the people that are on Solinco on the pro circuit?
So we have Rajiv Ram, who's had an unbelievable year. He just came off winning the year-end championships. As far as other players, you have the Bryans, the Bryan brothers. You have Jensen Brooksby, that's done unbelievably well. I mean, I can name players all across the board. Mm-hmm. I mean, here on this board, you have so many players using Solinco. You have Simone Bolelli. You have Haley Carter, who's playing Dove. And also you have Vera Zavonareva.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember her.
She's been doing very, very well. So I mean, we have quite a few players using it, and I mean even more unofficially using it. So I mean, it's been great. Yeah.
Got it. I'm sure you have a bunch of top-ranked juniors too.
We do. We've got a lot of little munchkins and some quite a bit older. So I mean, yeah, we have tons of juniors that we build a relationship with.
Now, when you go out to those tournaments, you obviously are looking for players. Like, what are you looking for in that player that could be on Team Solinco?
So there are a lot of factors. I mean, there's a lot of factors when we're out in the field at tournaments that we're surveying. Because we're tennis players. We have a background in tennis, and me especially, I've played every single level of tennis. I played juniors, played in college, dabbled on circuit. You know, so I've got a wealth of knowledge in ability and potential development. Mm-hmm. You know, so we've been fortunate enough to have come across a lot of juniors that didn't really hit their marks or peak at that point, but we took care of them early, and once they peaked, they became top kids in the country, blue chips, and you know, they see us as the company, the people that helped them out before they became what they are today. So we've been really fortunate, and we've been good at seeing that ability in the making. You know, it might not be fully developed, but then you kind of see the potential. You see the potential in the player. You see how they are on and off the court. Because more importantly, you could be the best player in the world, but if your character doesn't match that ability, you know, it's not necessarily the best for the brand, the best for the company, nor is it best for the player's development. Because one thing we do look at is how they are on the court, off the court, you know, how they are as people, you know, because we're a very people-centric, relationship-building company. So we've been very fortunate enough to have built great relationships to kind of help Solinco grow to where it is today. So in doing so, we're looking for great ambassadors on and off the court. They might not be the best player winning all the matches at this point, but we can see the potential development and their work ethic, you know. So we kind of take a lot of factors into the mix.
What's the youngest junior that you are sponsoring right now?
Ooh, probably about 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you see in an 8-year-old?
Just technical development, their hunger. And you can see the little player, the little kid just kind of always want to be on the court, always wanted to hit more tennis balls, just passionate, in love with the sport from the beginning. Because the best time for kids to play free without the idea of like sponsorships, endorsement deals as they become better and better is when they're really young, because they're playing just for the love of the sport.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, do you approach the potential sponsoree, or do the potential sponsoree approach you? How does that work?
It's a combination of both. When we're at events, we are proactively looking. We're going to, in addition to catching up with parents, catching up with the players, seeing how the kids are doing, how the players are doing, how school and everything, you know, how they're doing in their personal life. In addition to that, we are actively looking at players. We're going from court to court, seeing what player, who's playing who, and oftentimes we're catching up with the parent, and then you hear a different ball, you hear a different intensity, and that captures your attention, and we're thinking, oh, where is this player? We go to the player, we go to the court, survey, watch, and see how they are. Not just winning points, not just technical aspect. See how they are on the court. You know, if they've got good sportsmanship, but great intensity, great fight, and kind of going back into seeing the potential development, what they could possibly bloom into, or the coach or the parent to exchange contact info. So we're proactively looking for that.
Now, when you go out to that court and they're making questionable line calls, what goes into your mind?
Ooh. It's, for me, I've always been yelled at and lectured for playing out balls. I mean, there's a funny story. I had a USTA official when I was playing one of the big money open events just stop the point and say, hey, point's done. Point goes to Norman because, you know, the ball is out. I saw it because they can call from as long as they see it,
course.
they can call.
Yes.
And I said, what's going on? And the roving official says, Norm, that ball is this far out. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I just got so in tune with it, so I'm playing. You know, and it's pretty funny because I, like with questionable calls, there's a fine line between just being being intentional, and it being accidental. If there are players constantly just making bad line calls, or being intentional about it with poor gamesmanship, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, we kind of jot down notes and then make note of it. It's because it's reflective on the company, the brand itself.
Right, definitely. I'm sure that your inbox gets inundated with email from either the kid, the parent, sometimes the coach, asking for free stuff, essentially. Sponsorship or free stuff. How do you handle that stuff?
So we have a very stringent sponsorship protocol that we follow, and a sponsorship review. So we take into, I call it, and we call it in the office here, like an all factors review. So we take into consideration their tennis recruiting information, UTR, sectional ranking, national ranking, and affiliation with a coach, because oftentimes, or a coach or facility, and oftentimes there are coaches that say, hey, there's a player that is unbelievable, but he doesn't have the means to travel and play, or he's been hurt for X amount of time. So can you review his information? This is his, and then we'll take it into account. And I mean, also it comes down to just reviewing it as an entirety. And as much as I would love to say I'm the sole decision maker, one thing we do is we collectively review and review the information and make a determination based on our stringent sponsorship requirements. And this sponsorship is essentially a blanket term, but our sponsorships range from a partial sponsorship all the way to a full. Mm-hmm. And as with us, we reward the players as they continue to do well. So I've had players in the past, one in particular, he started out as a 35% sponsorship. And I said, look, update me with your results, with each tournament. And he started updating me. He goes, hey, Norm, I just won a tournament. Hey, Norm, I did this. And his rankings just started skyrocketing. He went from a 35% sponsorship all the way to a full. And this kid ended up being top 60 in the world junior ITF. So I mean, it actually creates a great story as far as development, mm-hmm. building that relationship with the company, and essentially rewarding them for their success. Some is just a package. Here you go. Okay, right. Cool. It's like cool story. But I mean, for us, it's like that's another way we connect with the people. It's like that's how we stay in contact. And also, I mean, not in addition, like further down the line when we have them on board officially with Solinco, where they're stenciling, representing the brand to the best of their ability, we take an active effort in seeing when they're a sophomore, junior in high school, looking, hey, what are your plans? How's school? What are your thoughts on colleges? And then we kind of look into it a little deeper.
So when you say 35 versus full, what does 35 mean?
35% sponsorship is essentially 35% off of just about all Solinco branded products. So they have the opportunity to order what they want from us, and all they have to do is just reach out, and we'll get everything processed and shipped out for them. Got it.
Versus a full means everything is yours.
Yes, we do our best to take care of them to the best of our ability.
Got it. So if an aspiring junior, let's say 12 years old, wants to be sponsored, what's the first thing is to contact you?
First thing is they can go online to www.solincosports.com/sponsorship. And there's 2 links. One's for coach and one's for athletes. Just click the athlete link and you could fill out the form. There's going to be a few bits of information that you would need to plug in so that we can kind of best a collective determination on the sponsorship. But one thing is, if there's someone that refers you to Solinco, please put their name down. Or if there's a shop or something, so that we can at least have a little better reference point to kind of make some decisions,
right,
to best provide the highest sponsorship possible for the player.
Right, provide them with a little bit of background
Yes.
On you, so that they can make an informed decision on your needs and your abilities. Anything else they should do?
From there, after that, they can reach out to us. We do our best to try to get back to everyone within a week. There are times during certain times, U.S. Open, Indian Wells, it does get a little delayed, and we do apologize for that. We try our best to kind of get to everything as quickly as possible. But if you don't hear back in a little over a week, please reach out to us, and we'll gladly follow up.
So I'd like to add like a caveat to this. Don't just email Norm for free stuff. Don't fill out the form because you think you deserve it. There are qualifying levels that you need to kind of be in order to even try to or even do this. And that is, make sure you're playing tournaments. You're not just playing high school. You have a ranking. You have a UTR. That you're actively playing competitively. Norm isn't here just to dole out free stuff, okay? So make sure you qualify, all right? So I just wanted to add that because I don't want Norm's inbox to have like 1 million emails next week. So
to add to that, one thing we do, let's say we get you on board with Solinco, you're part of the team Solinco, we'll do our best to take care of you. Obviously, we do have some stringent requirements as far as ranking, and then we'll review and bump you up accordingly. But within that, we do our best to take care of you. Our focus is to build relationships, not look at people as a transactional charge, So for us, we're always in it to build relationships, see how everyone's doing, how they're doing as a player, how they're doing as a person in general. What's going on. It's funny after some of these players have gone on, played juniors, done well, gone off to college, played in college, even going into the working world. I occasionally come across them and they say, "Hey, how's it going?" And it's as if we picked up as if we left off where we left off when he was in the junior, he or she was in the juniors. So it's a very special relationship we kind of build with the players themselves.
Right.
It's kind of like that big brother, like a big brother feel.
So when you're with Team Solinco, you're family.
You are.
So now, it used to be just a string and grips. We have rackets now. So when Norm says full sponsorship, they can hook you up with rackets, strings, grips, the bag. Now we're talking full sponsorship now. And that is very, very special. So, Norm, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you taking the care to take care of our juniors out there and all of your sponsored players. It is definitely a family atmosphere here at Solinco. All right. Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.